Kelly Vess, and we are going to today talking about an extremely important evidence-based practice that is not discussed enough in our field. And that evidence-based practice deserves a mic drum roll, please. The word is fun. It's not about making therapy fun. It's about making therapy all caps, F-U-N exclamation point. So when I'm doing therapy, there's two questions I ask before and after the session, which I deem to be of critical utmost importance. And those questions are question one, when I'm looking at the therapy session before it begins, how fun is this? And question two, after the therapy session is complete, I always ask this question, how fun was this? And if they don't find that the activity is very engaging, I hit the drawing board and I go ahead and see how can I make this activity more engaging? Because this is of the utmost importance. And why is it so important? Why the activity is fun or not? I'm going to talk about three main reasons why I care so much whether or not the activity is fun. So that's what we want to think when we do therapy. If we want to really make a difference for these kiddos, we don't want to think about fun. We want to think about fun. So let's talk about fun and why it's so important. Number one, in the short term, when it comes to therapy activities, we want the children to acquire, this is the acquisition phase, as much information as possible. We want them to be sponges. We want them to take it all in. So how can we make these children sponges? How can we make them, in this short amount of time that we have with them, able to pick up as much of this information as possible to rewire the brain? Well, how can we do that? I always think of a happy puppy. So if you think of a happy puppy, what do you see? You see the ears are perked up. The ears are open to learning. The eyes are open. The mouth is open. The paws are ready. They might be standing on 2 feet. They are all in terms of all of the senses. And that's because they're happy. That means that they have optimal arousal state, optimal attention, optimal engagement. So when you're doing therapy, if you only have 30 to 60 minutes a week, quality matters a lot. And what that's going to do is you're going to have a child that's going to take in all of this educationally rich experiences that you provide. And because you're using multimodal cueing, which is providing information through all of the senses, the child is learning exponentially more. So the first reason we care so much about fun is because that will equate to acquisition, taking in all of this educationally rich material. When neuroplasticity, if you're like me and working at a preschool level, is at an extremely high level, we can really rewire the brain. Okay, number two. Why do we care about fun? And the second reason we care about fun is because that is going to maintain the information learned. So the child's in the therapy session on Monday, you're going to see the child again on Wednesday. We don't want that information forgotten. If the child is at a high dopamine level, because the child's having fun, and if the child is at a high cortisol level, because the child is highly attentive and highly engaged, that means that information the child's going to say is important. And we need to imprint this information on long-term memory because we want to experience this again. So the child's going to say, this is a really, really rewarding experience. We want this to happen again, the brain's going to say. So we remember this. So then the bad part is this is how addictions happen. Something is really, really rewarding and you seek it out again. The good thing is this is how wonderful educationally rich learning occurs again as well. So they have a really, really pleasurable, fun experience. They're going to remember it because they want to repeat that experience. And therefore, you can move forward in your therapy instead of doing same old, and focusing so much of your attention on maintenance. You can instead be focusing your attention on progress because the maintenance is occurring through a neurochemical level, for a neurological level, because your activities aren't simply fun. They're fun. Focus your effort in having great, 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 super, super fun activities that'll pay off. So the third reason we're going to talk about is long term. Why do we care that the activities are fun, like really, really fun? And that's because we know that super fun activities, they become imprinted in the brain on a long-term basis as well. So we can think of traumas, childhood traumas, and how those can still permeate in the brain on a long-term manner in which people suffer from aversions later on. For instance, a simple example of that is I had French toast when I was a child and I had the flu at the time. I cannot to this day look at French toast and not have nausea and feel really, really sick whenever I smell it or look at it. Conversely, as a child, I always had Finnish pasties my mother would make, a Finnish recipe, whenever there was a special occasion. So whenever I see or smell Finnish pasties or eat them, I have wonderful experiences that are printed in my brain from childhood. So we want children to learn that learning is fun, that learning is enjoyable experience, that that's not something that they're going to be averted to, but rather drawn to. So how is this going to spell out long term? Well, children who love learning are going to engage in it more. And by engaging in learning more, they're going to become better at it. So by the time they enter kindergarten, they're going to have a stronger foundational skill set. And when they enter into kindergarten, they're going to be offered more rich learning experiences. So maybe they're going to be offered storybooks to read because they already have the basics of the ABCs and one, two, threes down. If a child who does not have good learning experiences avoids learning experiences because it's not pleasurable, much like myself with the French toast, this child is going to come to kindergarten with poor foundational skills. So the learning experiences this child will have will be, okay, we need to learn our ABCs and our one, two, threes, while the child next to you is reading really fun narrative stories with a plot and with character development and with consequences and action. This child is memorizing ABCs. So you have a tale of two cities in which the strong will get stronger and the weak will get weaker as the gap will widen. Now, how does this play out even longer term as an adult? If the child is one that loves learning, this is the child that will go on and seek maybe advanced degrees, maybe be someone who invents and creates in their field. This is someone who's going to be an innovator and creator, and not because they have to, because they get paid for it, but because it's something that is enjoyable for them. So that they're going to seek out and do more of, and therefore become better at it. And they're going to take us to higher levels. So that's why it's so important that we focus our efforts right now. If you want to do evidence based practice, it's more than just a set of strategies. Sure, there are some maxims of strategies that really, really are effective. But if the activities that you're implementing these strategies in are not fun, you're missing out on so much more in changing the brain and in changing the lives of the children that you work with. So that if you really want to be an agent of change in the children we work with, focus on fun.